Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Are you wondering what kind of items should you be stocking up on right now? We know we all need food and water, and hopefully you are gathering plenty of that, learning to use the foods that you have, rotating them and replacing them. But it's not enough as a prepper to just have food and water. There are all kinds of supplies that you need. You can choose to pick them up a little at a time, just like the food and water. As you go to the store, as you're thinking of things you need, jot them down, make a list, shop for those items, or if you're looking in the store and you see something that might be a great idea and you can afford it to make it a part of your preps, pick it up. One of the top prepping items to be stocking up and getting a variety is first aid. You can go to the Dollar Tree, you can go to the drugstore, you can even go to the grocery store, big box stores, and you can find a whole variety of first aid supplies. If you don't have a basic first aid kit, make sure that you get one of those to begin with, simply because it's comprehensive, it's all together. But then there's all types of first aid supplies that you can stock up on, everything from Band-Aids to gauze to alcohol wipes, over-the-counter medicines, rash ointments, all kinds of things. There's so many different types of supplies for first aid. Figure out what are the things that you know how to use, find out how to use the things maybe you don't understand, learn some basic first aid, and then keep sharp on those preparations. And if there's special medical conditions that you or your family has, make sure that you stock up on the supplies to meet your individual needs. I've been picking up like the plastic shoe boxes when I go to the store, and I'll fill them up with one category at a time. You can see they're all different because I didn't buy them all at once. This isn't about having perfect looking prepping supplies. It's about having organized prepping supplies and picking them up a little at a time as you know that you need them. So I have one of these shoe boxes with extra first aid supplies. It has a little bit of all the different categories in this basic kit. And so while I have other kits in different places, in my bug out bag, in my car, with my emergency gear, I can resupply anything that I need, anything that I've used, or in a big emergency, if I need a whole bunch more, I can go and pull out my box. The next box has batteries. I have all different sizes from small to large, AAA, AA, 9-volt, and even some giant D batteries because those fit one of my flashlights. Look over what your battery needs are. Make sure that you have plenty of those. I have mostly items that take AA's. That's the majority of my batteries, and that's what works for me. One of my strategies lately has been to include prepping items that need batteries, but they either are USB rechargeable or they take the AA because I have so many things, then I only need to supply one type of battery. So it's complicated if you have all types of different batteries, but if you can try to find some that are uniform in your gear and then you have a stockpile of those, that's going to make life easier. It isn't always possible, but it's a good strategy to keep in mind when you're shopping for gear and supplies. The next box I have it's labeled alcohol because it actually has alcohol, as in what I might want for emergencies or for barter. I might want this for medicinal purposes, for some comfort items. If I find somebody who maybe has an addiction, maybe I want to barter, or I want to treat somebody but not give them a whole big bottle so they get drunken out of their mind, then I have small bottles for small purposes, and then I still have a whole big stash. You don't want to pull out your giant handle of booze in an emergency, but maybe a little bottle might be just the thing. I store alcohol that I would enjoy because there's no sense storing things you have no use for. I'm not storing things that I don't use in case somebody else wants them. The next box I have is lighters and matches. I like these long utility lighters. You can pick them up even at the Dollar Tree. One of the items I don't see very often are the long fireplace matches. These are great because it is a match, but it has a long stick, and so you can reach into something like a fire pit, a barbecue, a long candle, a lantern, and it'll keep burning for a long time. So if you can find some of the long fireplace matches, add them to your stockpile. Get some Strike on the Box matches. Also look for Strike Anywhere. They're harder to find, but then you can put them in your emergency gear, and no matter where you are, you can light a fire, because these must have the strike plate from the box. The box needs to be together and it needs to be dry so that it's still going to be useful. I don't have a lot of little lighters, but I do have some. One trick is I tape them around the top because that helps keep them from evaporating. Also, if you want to know how much fluid is still in your lighter, you can take it into the dark, shine a flashlight through it, and you will be able to see how much fluid is in your lighter. I have other boxes, other purposes, but these are the ones I've been working on lately and thought I would share with you. What are some other items to stockpile now if you have a chance? Since it's the time of year when people are gardening, if you can pick up seeds, get some. You don't have to necessarily use them this year. If you find seeds on sale and they're vegetables, and especially if they're heirloom, you need to pick those up and store them in a cool, dark, dry place. Make sure that you store them dry. I even store some in metal containers to make sure that they can't have moisture get to them, because seeds are the key to sustainability. If you run out of food and there is some big, huge emergency that food is not available, you want to be sustainable. You want to ensure that you can provide food for your family. Another great tip is to get a copy of your house keys, your car keys, the keys that control your life. Make sure you have an extra secure set and you have them together and you know where they are. If you lose your purse, if you drop your keys into the lake, if something happens at your home, you need to have an extra set of keys. It can prevent all kinds of emergencies and heartaches and big expenses of trying to call locksmiths and tow trucks. Every home should have at least one fire extinguisher. I keep one in the kitchen, I keep one by my fireplace, I keep one by my barbecue, I keep one in the closets, because no one ever knows where a fire might break out. No one knows what can happen. And if you are in, say, a back room and there's a fire preventing you from getting out, you need to be able to knock it down to help yourself escape. If it's a big out of control fire, don't even try to deal with it. This is for if you can put something down quickly that's small and not out of control. Your responsibility in a fire is to get out safely, make sure the other people are safe, and there's nothing in your house that can't be replaced except you and your loved ones. If the addition of a fire extinguisher might give you an added minute, then that's a good thing to have on hand. Recently, one of my family members had a very tragic fire. It was an explosive fire and the house was completely gone in minutes. Something like this wouldn't have been useful. But if a smaller fire had occurred, this might have been able to do the trick. In a huge, big fire like he had, you can't fight that kind of a fire, nor should you try. You need to escape as quickly as possible. Fire extinguishers do come with an expiration date. You want to make sure that your gauge is still showing that it works, and you also pay attention to the date. You can have these recharge on a regular basis. Another important item to have in your stockpile is a copy of your identification. Go to the copy machine, take out your phone, take a picture or a copy of your identification, because if something should happen, you need to be able to prove who you are. You need to be able to show where you live. You need to be able to conduct all kinds of business that you can't if you don't have a copy of your identification. So these are the items that I am working on lately to make sure that I have the things that I need in my stockpile. Nobody knows what's coming. We hear all kinds of things about what's all the products coming from China and they may not be available. We go to the store and we know things are not readily available. We know prices are increasing. We also see that there's dangers in our society, and it's up to us more and more to safeguard our own selves, our families, to safeguard our home, our property, provide for ourselves, and make sure that we can make the best of whatever comes our way. If you have pets, make sure that you have the supplies that they need. They count on you 100% to not only love them, but to provide their every need. They can't get it for themselves. It's up to you. If you enjoyed my video, I hope you'll share it with someone else you think might enjoy it. And please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.